coming to your point, you need to be a special kind of passionate, and that passion, the name for that special kind of passionate is crazy, basically. And so we were just crazy enough to think number one, our research told us cloud gaming could be the answer to our bachpan ki problem. And then the crazy part sets in ki no one's doing cloud gaming in India.
You know, sometimes I make videos expecting them to do really well, but they don't. And other times I just make a random video and it does so well to the point where it surprises me, it shocks me. Something similar happened a couple of months back when I made a reel about India's first cloud gaming service called the Gaming Project, and that ended up going viral. It has 1.2 million views as we speak. So as that happened, I reached out to the brand and asked them if their co-founder would like to join me for a podcast, and they agreed. So yeah, this podcast is exactly that. Sarang, the co-founder of India's first cloud gaming service, the Gaming Project, will be joining me today, and we'll be talking about everything about his journey, how he built the gaming project from the very scratch for Indian audience, how they optimized it for the Indian audience by making it different from the likes of Google Stadia and GeForce Now, what kind of challenges did he face, his personal college life, his view on startups. There is a lot of value in this podcast. If you watch it completely, I'm sure that you'll come out with a different perspective, a new perspective on the industry of gaming, tech, and startups. This is a long video, so I've added all kinds of timestamps. Feel free to jump around. You don't have to watch it completely if you don't want to. And yeah, lastly, if you're a college student in your first, second, third year and you would like to get into the top student ambassador programs of the country from Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all these brands, you can join our Campus Beyond Discord community where me and my team provide free mentorship and guidance to students just like you. So yeah, finally, let's jump on a call with Sarang. Hey Sarang, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I'm good.
Okay, so let's start with your reaction on the reel, the Campus Beyond reel. So how was that like for you? Because I just told everyone how it got so much traction, so much views. When I was making the video, I had zero expectations. Like I couldn't have dreamed that it would hit like 1.2 million views right now, which is the number right now. So what was your reaction like?
I was totally expecting it. What are you talking about? I was honestly for us it was a like the reverse of situation because for you know where the traction is coming from. Like you get a notification from Instagram or Facebook, whatever, right? Like ये likes are रहे, comments are रहे, so you understand where it's coming from. हमारे लिए it was completely opposite because we had no idea initially that you had made that video. I don't think you had tagged us initially. I think initial tag nahi hua tha or something like that. So we had like for us it was just like traffic. So on our interface we get traffic kahan se aa raha hai, but because I think what had also happened was people had started to share the video from other resources and stuff. So we had like 2-3 traffic sources. And we're like, okay, what is happening? So we knew that something had gone viral, but we had to figure out kahan se that thing is coming up. And then people started pointing out to us because of his Instagram, we started receiving a lot of DMs. He was just like sliding into our DMs, being like, free account and shit like that. And so yeah, then people started telling us that this is this video, and then we saw the video, then we got in touch. So yeah. It was pretty cool because that is, I mean, we have had videos that went viral in a way, but it was a very small scale, or like usually lasted for a maximum of 24 hours. And yours lasted for like a good week, like a proper good week. Despite what had happened post that week. But yeah, for a good week, at least we had like good traction.
Yeah. So it was kind of surprising for me as well, because I think my account was at around, I think 6,000 or 7,000 followers, and it shot up to like 12,000, 13,000 followers. And most of the traction came from that reel. It was basically like a combination of, the title was Cloud Gaming in India for 30 rupees per hour. So it was kind of very intriguing. And also the Reels algorithm is going crazy these days. So the reel got pushed to
You can't predict. You really can't predict.
Yeah. So it was a
But
combination of
you're right. It was the first combination of because it was actually going for two things. Because also the game that you had
that
made
was
the reel
strategic.
on,
Yeah, that was
right,
strategic.
that was like that was the most famous best game that you could make the reel on. So people were like, 30 rupees mein 30 rupees mein I can play this game. Oh yeah. And so like without even knowing, people are jumping. That was one. And number two, of the simple fact that cloud gaming currently wasn't like India mein kuch like no one knows about it, and at the same time like people think like because we still get people who will like download our application because they saw our Google ad or whatever and saw us on Reddit, and then they would come like, I didn't know cloud gaming in India, man. We were like, sir, hum ek saal se hain." Like,
damn.
So yeah, it was two things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's jump into the podcast now. I'd like to start by asking you what is the actual story behind Gaming Project? Like, I mean, it's totally obvious that you and your co-founders might have been into gaming since childhood, but I think this is not just passion for gaming. You need a different kind of passion to jump into such a market where there's no successful competition in India. People are not aware. So how was that journey for you like?
It was crazy, yeah. So me and my co-founder Manan Mittal, he and I, we've been friends in school. We're both schoolmates, and we've been like just like you correctly deduced that yeah, we have been gamers all our lives. We play like थोड़े बुड्ढे हैं, so like Oregon Trail type games, like floppy disk games was the thing that we've played. You're a few years younger, so I'm not sure if you know what floppy disk games, but no, that's the kind of thing. Really, so that's the kind of thing that we've been going for, and so that's where the whole thing began. And the core difference or the core problem that at least came from me or even from Manan's side of things is the fact that when you try to play a game, especially if you're talking about a PC game, right, or a PlayStation or an Xbox game, you need to invest so much, right? Like the minimum console right now of this generation is what, 50 grand in India, like 50 grand.
Yeah.
And even for a gaming laptop, PC to chhod hi de. If you're talking about a gaming laptop, that also starts from the bare mid specs laptop starts from like 55, 60 grand, something like that. And so for us, that had always been like an issue growing up because I grew up middle class, Manan grew up middle class, and you know, you have to have that thing. You have to first convince your parents to buy your gaming laptop, and that takes about 2 years. Yeah. तो 2 साल बाद तू वो वाले पैसे इकट्ठे करता है जो तेरे को 2 साल पहले के लैपटॉप पे चाहिए होता है. Yeah. And when you finally get it, the games that come out, they don't play on that laptop. So that was a thing we have gone through multiple times in our childhood. And so we started in 2018 is when we started talking. And both of us were, so Manan was doing a job and I was doing another startup at the time. It was a hardware startup and so completely different to what we're doing right now. And Manan was working in a conglomerate. He was working with Reliance Jio.
Okay.
And so both of us were just talking and we were thinking of playing a game. We were thinking of playing God of War.
Okay.
Because it had come out in 2018, if you remember.
Yeah,
right? End of 2018
very popular. Yeah.
Is when it was supposed to come out. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And so we want to play that game, but we knew हम खेल नहीं पाएंगे because वो PlayStation के लिए आएगा और हम PlayStation पे खेल नहीं सकते हैं. July 2018 is when I think the game came out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a God of War nerd. Anyway, so I had a PSP, I remember. So उस पे मैंने बहुत खेला था, and then I had a friend जिसका PlayStation था, तो उस पे मैंने God of War बहुत खेला था. So we wanted to play that game, and we like we can't afford a PS4 or something like that. And so we started researching, and then we started researching about other games, and we engineer ka khapti dimag aata is coming to your point ki you need to be a special kind of passionate, and that passion, the name for that special kind of passionate is crazy, basically. And so we were just crazy enough to think ki, number one, our research told us cloud gaming could be the answer to our bachpan ki problem. And then the crazy part sets in ki no one's doing cloud gaming in India. Even at the time, like Google Stadia was not a thing. Stadia, xCloud, these guys, they didn't exist. Stadia was actually called something called Project Yeti.
Yeah.
And they were developing it at the same time we had the idea. And so we were just like, India mein koi nahi kar raha. I was like, okay, India mein koi nahi kar raha. Interesting. And then we just like, it was, this was a conversation we had in July, because again, that's when the game got released. So I'm gonna thank Santa Monica Studio for this idea. And then it was just 3-4 months of us talking and understanding the market and actually coming back to the idea that we are going to attempt it to do it for India. In India. Because again, both of us have no background in the world of gaming. We have no industry knowledge, as to say, right? Apart from whatever we can read online and talk to anyone who has a knowledge for that. So we did that. For the next 3-4 months, we did that. We spoke to anyone we could get our hands on. We researched and read everything we could. And then in November is when we actually started the gaming project. Yeah.
That's a very cool story. Like it's a proper, like a TVF Pictures kind of story, I would say. Like you just chatting, you had this crazy idea and you just jumped on it. Your last point about researching and developing it for India, that's actually a good segue into my next question. Before I ask that, I'll just share my experience with cloud gaming a bit. So back in 2016-17, there used to be a service called Liquid Sky. And that was, I think, the first like official consumer tech cloud gaming thing. I read about it in a consumer blog or something like that. And I just got excited. Like, you know, I don't have to buy an Xbox or a PC and I could still play games even on a MacBook. So it was like $10 to try it out. Like you said, we had to convince our parents. So I did that to buy this shady $10 card and buy the service, set up a VPN. I did all of that. I even have the video of me doing that on my YouTube channel right now. So I'll insert a small clip over here. So that was very, very cool. And after a couple of years, when Stadia launched, GeForce Now, so I tried all these services with a VPN. Although the experience wasn't great, I just wanted to feel like how this kind of gaming works. And then when the first time I saw the gaming project, I went to the website. I instantly recognized that you guys had built it from like the very ground up for India. Like you have a demo right there, like free demo. You just click a button and you're into the game. And then you have this free selection of games which you don't have to like pay for separately, even with the like the cheapest plan. So, you know, I could see that this is very India. It's not just like an Stadia alternative or GeForce alternative. This is something very different for India. So how was that journey like developing a cloud gaming service specifically for India?
So you're right about the point in the fact that how do you make it for India, and then that's the good and bad thing about doing something innovative in the very purest form, because there's nothing to look for, right? There's no history or there's no research to tell you how does this work in India. And again, this is something which is easily verifiable of the fact that there is no data to tell you. And actually, no, sorry, there is data in the fact to tell you that India is very different as a gaming market than the rest of the world. Very different. So that was the first point to keep, right? Like, me and Manan obviously have some prejudices when it comes to gaming. Every gamer has, like, not even gamers, it's like a universal fact.
Yeah.
Everyone has prejudices, right? You will like pav bhaji more than dal chawal because of whatever reason, right?
Like Xbox more than PlayStation. So.
Xbox more than PlayStation, right? Exactly. So there was that, and that was the first thing, that to overcome that fact, how do you make something which is, as a model, is something that people get? Because I mean, yeah, we've been live for a year, but every day, so because we have like this suggestions page, and I send out a mailer to my users every week, which is basically like, tell us what you want. And every week we receive suggestions which are like, doesn't work in like a sustainable business model. They're like, some free kar do. I was like, okay. but you have to kind of understand that sense. But to be honest, that is a core Indian market, right? Especially in gaming, that you have to make it something that they get it, and at the same time they don't have to spend a lot of money on it. So that was our first get go कि India में games क्यों नहीं चलते, और India में data wise why does piracy work so much, right? It shouldn't, but you know, Netflix came and then kind of reduced your thing on, you know, film piracy. काफी कम हो गया. You, like, people don't download films anymore. Everyone has Netflix, Prime, Hotstar, whatever. So that was one of those things. How do you regulate it slowly and also make them understand the technology? Right? Your first cloud gaming experience was Liquid Sky. But the fact was, the matter was, cloud gaming, the first actual service for a user point of view was actually a service called OnLive. Okay. Which was back in 2009. And as you can imagine, 2009 में cloud gaming कर रहा है, like कैसे चलेगा? And that's the fact. It didn't work back in 2009 just because the consumer did not have the technology. So that was these were our first three key points. That number one, the business model, the pricing model needed to be something that the Indian consumer liked, which was your thing about free demos and the free plan where you can come in and play and first trust the service. कि हाँ यार ये चल जाएगा. Second was the fact that to make sure that the internet can support. So what me and Manan did, so like I told you, we started this in November 18, but we commercially went live in 2020, March 2020. Okay. हमने almost 1.5 साल क्या करा? हमने 1.5 साल ये करा, हम इंडिया में घूमे. Okay. And we just tested our technology in various places of India, collected the latency data, every data, and then came back to home and then started coding again, because we wanted that thing कि ये सिर्फ उसके पास ना चले जिसके पास 100 Mbps का इंटरनेट है. We had to make sure that ये उसके पास भी चले जिसके पास 10 Mbps का इंटरनेट, which we are able to do, which is amazing. So yeah, that's like the thing we had in our brains, that it had to work for the grassroots gamer, which I like that term. The grassroots gamer, what that means is someone who either has never played a game or someone like me जिसने हमेशा गेम खेलने की कोशिश करी है but खेल नहीं पाया. So those are the guys we made the service for. That was in our brains. That's it.
Grassroots gamer thing is very interesting. And as you said, like, you want to develop a service which can be used by someone with a phone and a 10 Mbps internet connection, and not necessarily just like the 300 Mbps, 500 Mbps fiber guys. So, like, obviously, internet must have been a huge challenge to adapt to in India, since 4G speeds are still not that stable in especially tier 2, tier 3 cities. So apart from the internet, what kind of challenges did you face while developing this service?
Internet honestly wasn't a challenge for us, because for us it was like it's like you're making an omelette and you know the fact that you have to use eggs. So it wasn't like a problem. It was more like an ingredient that we had to use, and we had to make sure that, you know, then the salt you make, I'm sorry, I'm going but like you then had to know that what is the right amount of salt, right? That is what we adapted to. Whatever the internet, because see, that's also the misconception that people have, that Indian internet is like really shitty or something. Pardon my French, but the podcast ends with that. but so that was the point, that India's internet is actually pretty good, especially because of you had ISPs like Tata Sky, Jio, Act. These guys bought in like a really good Airtel.
JioFiber.
Like these guys actually, JioFiber to recent, like 2018 I'm talking about. JioFiber held internet in the fiber route. Like it spread the word about fiber. But isse pehle, when we had the copper, that's when these guys came along. And anyways, so they did a fantastic job in the sense that the app, when I remember this for a fact, that when we started back in 2018, this time हम data collect करते थे and we would pitch it to investors and everything, just to tell them कि ये the same question you have, कि India में चल जाएगा. The average internet speed of India at the time was 30 Mbps, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Right, but because that's not what you expect. But the thing was, क्योंकि metros में internet की speed बहुत सही थी, and technically 4G की internet speed is 10 Mbps. Technically.
Yeah.
So that's what you had to kind of go on. Now you have the broadband. Now you just have to measure what you have to do with the latency side of things, and how do you make it adaptable. So
Okay, cool. That's very interesting. Like even I had this misconception that average internet speed would be like what 5-6 Mbps. So it's amazing to
yeah,
hear that it's actually very nice.
yeah,
Uh, Now I have this interesting question about mobile gaming. Okay, so in the past couple of years, we have had like this mobile esports revolution. We have PUBG, Call of Duty, and all of that. This whole new mobile gaming space, and then we also have like consoles like Xbox, PS4. That's a different side of gaming. So, where do you think like a cloud gaming service like yours fits in between these two areas of gaming? Are you looking to convert console or PC users, or are you looking to convert those PUBG or Call of Duty mobile players? So, just a random thought that I
so
had.
no. It's a fair question, and to be honest, the answer is both.
Okay.
In terms of conversion, obviously,
Okay.
like I said, our first users were the guys who, again, did not have money or the hardware to play a game. Like, that was our first target market. The second are these guys. So because what cloud gaming does is it's kind of upgrading both guys. Why? Because the mobile guy can't play Cyberpunk, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
right? And so now he may use a cloud gaming service to play Cyberpunk on his mobile, right? And at the same time, a PC gamer or a console guy, suppose he doesn't have the money to upgrade every time, right? Or buy a game at 3-4 grand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He can also now use a cloud gaming service to save that money and buy games.
Yeah.
So it's just that it's because cloud gaming fits the reason cloud gaming is on the rise when it comes to. I mean, you have companies like Google, Amazon, Sony, Microsoft, Samsung, the liquid
Yeah.
sky. I think Samsung was their first investor because they won some competition.
Okay. Okay.
Facebook bought
Yeah.
another cloud gaming service. I forgot the name. But yeah, point being, why is everyone getting into cloud gaming way before anyone else is? Because they know that's the natural evolution, right? Like, why is mobile gaming taking over? Because it's very easy. मेरे हाथ में फोन है, मैं कुछ भी खेल सकता हूँ, right? Same goes for cloud gaming. Cloud gaming is the natural evolution that it works on both mobile and PC. मेरे पास अगर ThinkPad का लैपटॉप है जो मेरे ऑफिस ने मुझे दिया है, मैं उस पर भी अब गेम खेल सकता हूँ. And at the same time, अगर my parents bought me like a 15 grand phone as my first phone, I can play on that phone as well without me overheating the phone every time I play PUBG or any game that heats a phone, whatever. But yeah, that's the simple point. Cloud gaming is the natural evolution to gaming, and so because of that simple fact, we have the potential to convert both sides of this of the gaming spectrum.
So the last point that you mentioned about the ThinkPad laptop or a 15,000 rupee phone, that's actually the perfect segue into my next question. While researching about the gaming project, I read this article where one of your customers is actually a 14-year-old boy who used to borrow his dad's laptop during his lunch breaks and stuff to play games using cloud gaming. So I found that so interesting and powerful. Like, that guy doesn't have to ask his parents to buy him like a 50,000 rupee PS5 or something like that. He just has to ask like, Papa, give me 500 rupees or something, and he can play games. So what do you think about that? Like you mentioned, like the grassroots gamers were your motivation behind developing the service, but what do you like specifically think about this incident?
So that was amazing because there is since that time we have so many stories like this, and people put them online or whatever, and it's when you see this and everything, then you have that thing कि यार जो concept था, like I mean, okay, yeah, you're starting a business. What's the number one thing to that business? You have to make money. That's the hard and fast thing. I know that. I'm not naive to not say that. But at the same time, there has to be some sort of, there has to be some sort of beauty to it. And so for us, for me and Manan, that was the beauty, that this was the struggle we grew up with. And to be fair, it's not an actual struggle if you think about it. It's playing a game, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat as fucking Mother Teresa. It's not that. So for us, it was like that simple thing कि अगर हमें ये problem होती है, ये किसी और को भी होती होगी, like there has to be some sort of human connect to it. And so when we made the service and we made our profiles live and people had access to it, these were our biggest consumers. People trying to play a game with their friends, right? Because ये मेरे साथ होता था, like my friends, I would go to school and everyone would be discussing about Batman Arkham Asylum back in 2009.
Another
and I love that game. Right? And it was amazing. It like changed so many gaming WoW, introduced the free flow system. Anyway, and everyone would discuss that, and I was like, oh, chalo, मैं भी खेलता हूँ. And I went ahead and bought this CD. मैंने चलाया, and it was running at 5 FPS or something. Like, and I genuinely thought that's what the game is supposed to run like. I was like, Batman इतना slow क्यों चल रहा है? It's probably game ऐसे ही तो चलते हैं, नहीं. Oh, it's no, that's not how it's supposed to work. So that was like really cool. That was like when that guy said he borrows the dad's laptop when he's not meeting people, or we actually have parents call us at times and ask us about the service, and then they tell us the story as well, that we want him to play a game, but we can't buy him a PlayStation or whatever. And can he use this game to play whatever XYZ game? And I'm like, yeah, they can. You can try it out for free. And that's when we really like it. Because that's the beauty of it. Yes, there is a business side of things, but when the beauty hits it, that's when you know what you're doing is worth it, basically.
That was very cool to hear about, like, all your interesting journey points and your, like, the struggles you faced and all of that. Now I would like to move on to, like, your personal college journey. So you graduated from Amity University, Delhi in 2016, right? So how did you spend your engineering days? Were you always inclined towards building a startup, or like grabbing a nice placement package?
Not at all. So yeah, I got from Amity Noida in 2016, and I had a job before I graduated. I was doing an internship with a startup in New Delhi, and they offered me a job when I was in my last year of internship, and so I didn't need to do like a placement ho rahi thi, and I remember everything was done, but I already had a job, so I was set. And I had no inclination. Honestly, I had a friend who was into startups. He was in startup second year. So he was a big Steve Jobs fan, and he was just like, I'm going to do a startup. And I was like,
I have a Steve Jobs poster, by the way, there. So
yeah. So he was like, oh, my dropout le raha hu, main ye kar raha hu.
Like, got it.
Yeah. Right. He was big. He was like, I'm going to follow in his footsteps. And kudos to his passion. And so I did a job for about a year. It was in sales and marketing, because my engineering is not computer science or anything like that. My engineering is in renewable energy.
Oh.
It's a completely different thing I was doing. But why was that my friend's passion was kind of infectious, and it was him and two of my other friends. We were talking one day, and we were just like, I had done a job for a year. They had, because they were doing their masters or something, they had graduated late 2016 तक वो लोग graduate होने वाले थे. And so I was just talking one day, and we're like, just for like a year, let's not work conventionally. And let's just do a startup, because our logic was, abhi we don't have those many responsibilities on our head. All of us are middle class people, and we were just like, abhi wo set nahi hue hain, right? So we, the whole EMI, shadi, job, bachche, the whole process. And we're like, that's not on us yet, and we have that. I think this is with every student. Kabhi bhi, I would say. Like, not everyone, but everyone has that thing कि यार कुछ अपना करना है. Whether that's, sometimes that takes form of a restaurant, sometimes it takes form of a startup, or a home business or whatever you want to call it, right? And so that was our thing. And that's when we did our first venture, which I mentioned to you before. That venture, so it's still running. I left it in 2018 because the Green Project was, it needed my full attention. But that venture went out to be IIT Delhi incubated startup.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's very
so
cool.
there, my first friend, the guy who's crazy about the whole Steve Jobs thing, he's still running it. He's still a major role. So
That's like I couldn't have guessed that you were from like renewable energy field. So it was like I naturally thought that you must be from like electronics or computer science or something. So yeah, that's
Manan
very
is
good.
Manan's an electrical engineer. He's from Georgia Tech.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, and but yeah, it was like that's why he does. So even in our, it's a startup. It's a 4-man startup right now. So everyone does everything. मैं ये नहीं बोल सकता कि ये technical करता है, ये BD करता है, something like that. ऐसा, so everyone does everything. But yes, in terms of officially, I am the guy who looks for marketing and branding and UI UX and how we perceive to the outside world, versus Manan technically is the guy who looks, when the guy starts playing a game, that's Manan's department.
Oh, nice. So you said something very nice, which was like every student has this kind of notion that kuch apna karna hai, and it's there these days. And I'm in this student space, like my target audience, my viewers are 12th graders, first year, second years. So like I know that this notion of kuch apna karna hai is like at its peak right now, like more than it ever was. And there's also this notion that students have ke, like if you want to run a startup, you have to be from IITs and BITS and all these famous big colleges. And they think that if you're not from these colleges, your startup journey would be kind of very hard compared to if you were in those colleges. So would you like to comment on this? Is this a stereotype? Does it have some truth to it? So how's it like?
It's not a stereotype, but there is some truth to it in the sense of the thing you do afterwards. Because so traditionally, how startup perceives to be is either you have enough money to start it out, right? You go full crazy initially because there's a lot of any business. There's an initial burn rate, right? कि तू पैसे डालता है. But eventually you reach that point कि तुम्हें वो सारे पैसे वो like you've bought them back and then you start generating profit. So either you have enough money to withstand that whatever burn rate timeline is, or you get that money from an investor. And even suppose you had enough money to get through that burn rate, you eventually raise in money for investment to grow exponentially. That's how traditionally startups work, right? Obviously with many exceptions, but traditionally that's how it works. But the problem there comes is you have to raise money, and to raise money there has to be this perfect combination of you and your investor. You have to find the right investor, right? If you don't, the right investor or the right accelerator or the right mentor, whatever what do you want to prefer, and suppose you don't, suppose the investor is not looking at you, but they're looking at you in the form of like a third person, like like a bird's eye view, and they're looking at you without any prejudices or anything like that, partiality. So then they look at your background.
Okay.
Right. And so traditionally वो क्या समझेंगे कि अगर तू IIT से, that means तू cream है.
Okay.
Traditionally, right? That's because that's how prejudices work. That's how partiality works. Any kind of discrimination you want to call it. And so that is a thing कि अगर तू meeting में जाता है और तू बोलता है, it's an honest to God truth that when you go out and when you talk to investors and everything, they ask you where are you from, and if you say IIT, or if you say a university from outside India, like, whatever you want to call it, they, like, there is a sparkle in their eyes, because then what correctly, incorrectly that they presume is ये तो cream है, इसमें दिमाग है or something like that. And then suppose you say Amity, Manipal, right? They have this thing ki, well, so there's a slight barrier that's introduced. I would say that sometimes, again, with not all investors, this comes depending on investor to investor and firms to firms. But majority of the time, it's your work that speaks for yourself. So there is a truth to it, but at the same time, it's not a showstopper because you don't have to study. But yeah, suppose that you did a startup and that startup gained so much traction, you have these many users, X, Y, Z. Why wouldn't an investor put the money in, right?
Yeah, that was a very insightful answer. Like, I would say if you're not from those kind of colleges, like you still have to consider the possibility, like, like you might face some issues, like maybe someone who's from IIT doing the similar thing or something like that, he might get a slight preference. But as you said, it's in the end, it's the work that
in the end, it's
you.
your work. Yeah. No doubt about it. It's your work, because even the most prejudicial, like shitty investor, if an IIT guy comes to him and sells him a thing जो बिक नहीं रहा है, versus you who may not have like graduated from any college whatsoever, makes the same product but it's selling, the investor would not care about the IIT guy. It is your product that sells. Never have that doubt here that two IITs in the whatever university you're not from, you can't do a startup. That's not a problem.
By definition, they want to make money, right? So yeah, that's it.
That's the business side of it.
Yeah, coming to my last question. Again, as I said, most of my viewers are like 12th graders, first year, second years. So what advice would you have for them? Like, since you went down an untapped, like unexplored market, I'm sure that you face this issue from like family, friends telling you, "Okay, nahi chalega, like this won't work." As you gave like cooking examples before, I would say that if I'm opening a restaurant, तो उसमें पता है कि it's a cafe, it's a restaurant or something. But when you talk about like the gaming project, like there is, like you said, no data, no guide, no roadmaps, no competition. So how was that experience like, and like what advice would you give them to face this backlash from society?
From our personal experience, there are two things, right? One is the backlash you get from doing a startup or any kind of business, right? The second is when you do something which people do not understand at all. I think even to this day, I don't think my parents understand my kya karta hu.
Okay.
Because, and I get it, they're not from a different generation. They are the ones who computer tha hi nahi kar. And to be honest, they've not also used computers in their jobs. Like my parents are, like my dad is already retired and my mom is close to retiring in a year. And so they have never used computers in their jobs. They didn't have to. And so for them to, and then I explained cloud gaming to them and they'll be like, Mom, we don't need graphic cards to play any game anymore. They're like, what are graphic cards? So there are layers to this. So the first layer is the thing ki backlash ki why do you want to do a startup at all? That happens. That is so there are two people. Then it divides into two people. People who care about you, say that, and then there are random people on the street. And by random people on the street, I mean your Facebook friends, Instagram buddies, whatever you want to call them, right? And so the guys who care about you, they are only saying this because they care about you, because they know there's an inherent risk to it, and for that you just have to first accept the fact that they are right. Because I know that's not how it feels, right? Even you doing this, you doing your podcast and video reels and everything, I'm sure there is some sort of like thing from your parents. There is some judgment or what's, and you are aware of it. I'm 100% sure you are aware of it. But at the same time, you know which place are they coming from, and at the same time, you have to be like, okay, that is their opinion, and I respect that without any animosity towards it. You're like, I know what they're talking about. But I am prepared. I am confident in what I want to do, whatever time I want to try it on. And so that's that. Don't take it as a negative. That's first. Like from the guys who care about you, do not ever take it as a negative, because at the end of the day, when you do it, and when shit hits the fan, because this is life and that happens more often than we think, they are the ones who are gonna stand by.
Yep.
So even if they don't like what you do, they will still help you through those obstacles that come along. Then the second are the guys who
Yeah.
have no personal connection towards you and are just forming this opinion on the back of their heads. And this opinion comes from the fact that they are they are experts in the industry and they know what they're talking about, which is never the case. Because the guy who knows what he's talking about will never explain it to you in a sense that seems to you as backlash. He will give you the truth of it. यार अगर तू ये कर रहा है, इसमें ना ये प्रॉब्लम आएगी, तो काम करियो, ये मत करियो. इसको like he'll give you a solution to it. And the guys who tell you कि अरे ये मत कर, ये तो life ruin कर देगा, they don't know what they're talking about. They actually don't know. They are forming an opinion based on sometimes jealousy, sometimes pure kekla mentality, if you understand that metaphor, and sometimes purely because it's that. So you don't have to worry about, like, it's always good to kind of hear them, understand it, and then take your decision. Agar jo ye keh rahe hain, whatever thesis I have for my startup or business plan, whatever, does that overcome it? Because nobody comes to you with weird problems. They always come to you with genuine issues. So if your thesis solves it, good for you. That's the thing. You have to convince them now. If you do that, then there's nothing standing in your way, right? That's the first part. The second part is, like I mentioned, people don't understand what you do. Then the only thing that you have to ask yourself, does my target market understand it? So in my case, like, do you understand it? You do, okay, fine, I'm done. I don't need to worry about XYZ not understanding it, because I am not selling this to XYZ. I am selling this to you. And the people that may come into XYZ may be your friends, family, or sometimes I'm not even exaggerating, investors. If you're a startup person and you go out to pitch meetings, and you will meet investors who have no idea तुम लोग क्या बेच रहे हो, and then they will ask you questions like, it's called cloud gaming because multiplayer games chalte hain na is pe, and then you're just sitting there like, oh god, what have I done? And because this is like the fourth meeting you're having with the guy, and you're like, then you start questioning yourself कि मतलब ये मेरी pitch खराब थी, like, am I not able to understand it? It's not that. It's most of the times it's just the fact that people don't get what you're saying because it is innovative enough, and all you then have to do is make sure it's translating to the right crowd. So again, if your target gets it, if your audience gets it, don't worry about the other ones.
That answer had too much value in it, I would say. I mean, that could have been like a separate video by itself. So that was really amazing. I feel that, today when we, like, there is an era of like motivational gurus and all of that going on right now, especially on LinkedIn and Twitter side. And what I've seen is that they try to create a notion saying that, okay, if you have an idea, just ignore what everyone is saying, just ignore everything and just, jump on it. But the way you explained, like, if your parents are telling you something, you should pay attention to it, and you have to consider everyone. And when someone experienced is telling you something, you should like listen to them and pay attention. So that answer was amazing, and I think you should also think about starting a YouTube channel. But yeah.
Thanks.
So that was...
Why are you making your own competition, man? What are you doing?
We'll stream games together, okay? Cool. So thank you so much for joining me, man. This was such an amazing podcast. Like, there was so much value in it, right from your story and all the challenges we talked about, and then the grassroots gamer thing, how you develop the service, keeping that in mind, and obviously your personal college life. I think anyone who watches this video completely would learn a lot from it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you so much
all of us are
inviting
looking
me.
forward to all the new games and features that you'll be adding to the service. So yeah, we're very excited.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And honestly, thank you so much for doing this because not everyone has, like, I haven't seen many guys doing this, something like unique to, guys in your, especially during like your peers, like college guys or first years or like people who just graduated college to do something along the lines of, what to do after that. It's almost like a DIY video in the sense that this is what it's
Yeah.
gonna be like. So what do you think?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing
exactly.
that you're doing this. Thank you so much for having me.